one of the best defensive teams in the country. We just talked about Duke. What is Houston's case to win the national championship?
Yeah, Houston has one of the more interesting cases. They do put up. I don't want to underscore the fact that they do have a lot of offensive talent. Obviously, LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp have been good for them all season long. LJ Cryer being their top scorer, averaging over 15 points a game, has just been really like one of those gritty guards that like does a lot for his team. They do it in a lot of different ways though, and the main way that they dominate games is the fact that their defensive presence has been there all season long. Feels like watching the Big 12 like all season long. This team is just like a team that won't like give you anything if they're not shooting if the ball isn't dropping the way it should be for them. Obviously, they average 74 points a game. If they're not shooting well, they will suffocate you on defense, and it doesn't matter if the based off their head coach, they're never going to give up on a play. Like he really brings the attitude from it starts at the top and then goes all the way down for that Houston team. Feels like every guy they recruit, it kind of plays the same exact way. And they have a certain style about Houston basketball, a lot different, really different from the other teams that are in the tournament. And I think it could come as like a shock to some of the other teams in the tournament. I don't know that with how well the other teams are playing, that it'll make all of the difference, but if there is going to be a calling card for this Houston team, it definitely is their defense, and then the fact that they can do it in a lot of different ways. They had four different starters score in double digits for them, average double digits for them all season long. So they can get it done. They wouldn't be my personal pick. Duke is just a little bit too strong, but I really like this Houston team, and obviously one of the best teams in the country all season long. Number one seed, one of the final four teams remaining, and between their coaching and their grittiness on defense, I think that if it turns into a game in either the Final Four or the national championship, if they get there, where the other team doesn't have their shot and the Houston's playing the suffocating defense that they do, that is their calling card, and that's how they could win the national championship.
Yeah, so Purdue obviously gave Houston a really good game, but the dominance that they had against Tennessee, if they can just have any sort of stretch on defense against one of these teams over the next couple of games, they will be able to have enough offense, as you mentioned. Their offense, you may not think that they have a guy like, obviously not everybody's got a guy like Cooper Flagg, but like they may not have that go get a bucket, just absolute number one dude like Janai Broom or Walter Clayton Jr. or Cooper Flagg. But if they can hold on just a little bit at any sort of stretch in the game, if they can cause the other team to have 3.5 minutes of no scoring or anything like that, this team is definitely good enough and they have enough offense. And honestly, I like this kind of angle that they have too as a national champion story. It was all about the number one seeds this year. And we're thinking which 2 seed is going to maybe break through or which Cinderella is going to maybe break through. And I know a lot of people had Houston, and that region was the one, the Midwest region was the one that people were eyeing and saying, oh, Houston's going to go down here. And they were the ones that were picked on. And now they have an opportunity. They have potentially a home game in San Antonio. It's only about 3 hours away from their campus, and they can win a national championship in their home state for the first time, I believe, since UCLA did it sometime in the 70s. That's a really good story. I think sometimes that plays. These are some really good teams. They're going to rely on their defense. They could get through Duke. They could get through officially anybody, and I think they'd have a great chance in the national championship, either against Auburn or Florida, truly.